Hello, and welcome to today's show, Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess, international leadership expert and trusted advisor. Welcome to Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm so delighted that you joined me today. I want to give a big thank you and shout out to all of you listening around the world. I'm delighted and so grateful that you tuned in today. I hope you're enjoying a fabulous day and that you're having a fantastic week. Because you know what? In the grand song of the universe, life is very, very short. It's short, sweet, and very precious. So I hope you're making a difference in your own life, because when you do, you also make a difference in someone else's life. Now, a lot of folks want to make their life count for something, right? And they ask me, Dr. Gloria, how do you do that? Well, it's really very simple. Very simple. You make your life count day by day, step by step, moment by moment, every single day, 365, 24/7. That's what Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count is all about. You can learn more about Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count by visiting my website. That's the Gloria Burgess website, gloriaburgess.com, or by visiting Facebook. And you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/DR for Doctor, DR Gloria Burgess, PhD /. Today, I want to talk with you about leadership. As you know, if you're a regular listener, this is a topic that is very close to my heart. Today, we're going to focus on a leadership journey. Okay, one person's leadership journey and how she orchestrates that incredible, life-changing leadership journey for others. Today, I have a very special guest joining me, and her name is Danielle Harvey Stenson. Now, Danielle was my guest last week, so if you missed that episode, be sure to listen to it. Last week, we talked about work-life balance. Danielle shared a little bit about her work and her amazing journey to the work that she does now at the University of Southern California in her role as Assistant Vice President for Alumni Relations. Along the way, she shares many, many pearls of wisdom about how she thinks about and how to actually achieve work-life balance. Now, that's something we can all use a lot more of, right? So, who is Danielle Harvey Stenson? As I just mentioned, she's AVP of Alumni Relations at USC, and in addition to pursuing her career, she wears many other hats. Danielle is a mom to 6 children, right? 6. She's also passionate, and she's also a lifelong learner. She describes herself as someone who thrives on creativity. To me, she's also a very valued and trusted friend, and I'm blessed to count her as one of my amazing mentors. If I had to describe Danielle in just a word, I would say encourager. Yes, encourager. If I had 2 words, I would also say inspiring. Danielle is a leader who thinks outside of the box and is one of the most humble human beings, one of the most humble leaders that I know. She makes a difference in her own life and in the lives of so many others throughout the world in her work at USC. Now, I met Danielle almost 10 years ago. She was searching for a keynote speaker for one of the alumni conferences at USC. In fact, it was the USC Women's Alumni Conference. And at that time, I was in the process of expanding my reach because I wanted to impact more women leaders. Well, When I met Danielle, I just have to tell you, when I heard her talk about her work at USC, she was absolutely passionate. Talk about love. Her enthusiasm was just contagious. And I thought, yes, I'd love to work with this young woman who is truly on a mission and on fire about her work. Now, I'm also a USC alum, which made it a perfect match, right? Now, Danielle has worked at USC for 16, maybe 17 years in alumni relations. She has a bachelor's degree in education from USC's Rossier School of Education and an executive master's degree in leadership from the Sol Price School of Public Policy at USC. As AVP for Alumni Relations, Danielle and her team are responsible to and for about 500,000 people. That's a lot of folks. She and her team provide an incredible array of programs and services and events throughout the year after year. Now, as I just mentioned just a few moments ago, Danielle is positively committed to making an impact on the world. And she has a particular interest in making an impact to empower women leaders, to transform their world. Danielle says that, among others, her mom had an enormous impact on her life and has shaped her vision for her work. During my conversation with Danielle, you will hear more about her story. You'll also hear about some of the people and moments that have shaped and formed her as a person of influence. People and moments who have shaped and formed her as a leader, all with a particular focus on serving other leaders. In many ways, in her outlook on life and in her work, Danielle pulls together the many threads of what my own life and work are all about. You've heard me talk about these threads and themes on this show, right? These are the themes of gratitude, authenticity, vulnerability, integrity, generosity, strength, passion, presence, hope, creativity, and possibility. We are truly blessed to have Danielle as one of our honored guests on this podcast. Can I just tell you something? Danielle and I had a fabulous conversation. I'm so excited to have this amazing leader with us today. This is going to be a marvelous episode. I don't want you to miss a single word of it. So put on your walking shoes, grab your earbuds, or if you want to stay home, relax in your favorite chair, grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea or a nice cool glass of water. You are going to have a great time. And you're also going to want to take notes today. So, all right, get ready. Now, before I jump into today's episode, I want to take just a moment to welcome you. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Dr. Gloria, and this is Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'd like to extend a very special welcome to those of you joining this podcast, or if you're joining Talk Network Radio for the very first time. Let me tell you something, you are in for a real treat. I'm excited to have you listening in today, and I'm deeply honored that you've allowed me to be part of your day, so you can be inspired by ideas and resources to make your life count. Today's program is all about one leader's journey and how she orchestrates journeys for other leaders. Danielle, I would love to hear about the scope of the networks that you support across USC. I know you're responsible for various programs and services and events for a huge population. And I'd also like to focus in on the Women's Conference, because that's how you and I first connected. And I'd also like to give you some time to maybe share about that conference and maybe promote it a little bit as well through the program. Okay?
Awesome. Well, thank you. I can speak about the Women's Conference ad nauseum, nonstop. If this were a telethon, you wouldn't need to book any other speakers. So I'll start with the different networks that we have, and then go into the women's conference. So just to refresh, I guess, my answer from before about some of the different programs that I'm on and our approach to alumni engagement here at USC. It's very important for the university to maintain that connection. So we have things that we call the Trojan family, and that's really the alumni, the parents, the students, the whole gamut of anyone connected to or tied to USC. And specifically, we also say around here, you may be a student for 4, 5+ years, but you're an alum and a Trojan for life. And at USC, I will say that is one of the things that convinced me to come and be a student here at USC. And I was deciding between other universities. But when I got to see that Trojan family and that Trojan connection up close and personal, I was blown away and said, yes, sign me up right now. So now, as the person responsible for maintaining that connection and hoping to cultivate that connection, we're approaching engagement in an alumni-centric approach. So that means, as I shared a little bit earlier, we're trying to find ways that alumni will feel connected to the university in a way that is personal and meaningful for them. So for some people, if they are very connected through their industry or their profession that they've chosen, we have built networks around that. And right now we have 4 of those: entertainment, real estate, education, and entrepreneurship. And the wonderful thing about the networks is it doesn't matter what your major was when you were a student. So you could have majored in law as a graduate student. You could have majored in political science as an undergraduate student. You could have majored in something like writing or directing in the School of Cinematic Arts. But now, whatever profession you're in, let's say you're in real estate. So, we hear all the time, I'm working in a field that I didn't major in, or I majored in one thing, now I'm working in another. I'm one of those people. I majored in education, but now I'm working in alumni relations, which is essentially public relations or communications, et cetera. So these networks are allowing alumni to break down those barriers or those silos that we have, because perhaps, let's say you went through the Marshall School of Business or the Annenberg School of Communication, where you started, I should say it this way. It doesn't matter where you started. It just matters what you care about and what you're doing right now. So with those networks, we've had them, I want to say, for about 3 or 4 years now, and each one has started at different degrees. But we're starting to see alumni who graduated 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago never had a connection to the university before, except, they'll get together, watch a game with some of their classmates. But now they're coming back and going, oh, this is of interest to me. This is of value to me. The speakers that we bring together, or just the opportunity to network with other Trojans in that field, has been very valuable to them. Very similarly, we're also looking at that lens, not just with professions, but also what are some topics or programs that are, or shared interests is how we talk about them, that are of interest. And that includes our age-based programs. So let's say you're under the age of 35 and you need career advice. Well, the career advice we give an alum who's under the age of 35 versus the career advice we would give to an alum who's over the age of 50 is very different. So we also look at where are you in your lifespan and how can we curtail or make our programming specific to those needs. It's been very important. And now to segue over to the women's conference, we have been for many, many years looking at alumni identity. So we have our traditional Asian Pacific alumni, Black alumni, Latino alumni association, and our Lambda LGBT